Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Real Estate Matters. For over 11 years, the voice of real estate in Flagler County and Palm Coast, Florida. Welcome to the quiet side of Florida. I'm Toby Tobin. I'm the publisher of GoToby.com. I'm a contributor to the Palm Coast Observer. I'm also a Florida licensed realtor with the Landmark Group at Compass. Co-host Anna Maria Long is with me in the studio today. Hello, Anna Maria.
Good morning, Toby.
And our special guest today, returning after a couple of months. You were on about 2 months ago, I found out. David Ayers, he's the president and CEO of Flagler Broadcasting, which is the owner of this station and 6 other local stations between Palm Coast and St. Augustine.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, David.
Thanks for inviting me, Toby.
David also hosts the weekly live radio show. This one isn't live. At my age, it probably won't be ever.
Could be if you wanted to.
But David hosts the live show Free for All Friday, every Friday morning on this station at 9 a.m. And we're broadcasting on Friday right after his show today. So you all will hear it tomorrow. So the statistics I'll be getting to are pretty much up to date. They're only behind by a day from when you hear them. Our lead sponsor of this show is Veranda Bay, which is a private developing community of lots and luxury homes on the Intercoastal Waterway with a Flagler Beach address, featuring custom homes by Olson Homes, AR Homes by Arthur Ruttenberg, ICI Homes, and Hulbert Homes, and more recently, Dreamfinders and Toll Brothers. You can find out more about Veranda Bay by going to verandabay.com. They got a great website. We're also sponsored by the Flagler County Home Builders Association, where Anna Maria works, and Hammock Community Church, where I go every Sunday morning for the 11 o'clock service over in the Hammock on A1A, mile and a half north of the toll bridge. Small enough to know you, large enough to serve you. It's a neat church. You should come sometime. But I go to the 11 o'clock service. There's also a 9 o'clock service if you're an early riser, which I'm not. So let's get to the November results. We're pretty much settled on the numbers. We may get a few more, 1 or 2 or 3 more homes reported for November. But as of this Friday morning, 204 single-family Flagler County homes had been reported sold through the Flagler MLS system with a median selling price of $366,000. And that compares to November last year when only 144 homes were sold at a median price of $363,995. Days on market this year is 54 days on market, which is a respectable number. In the 250,000 and below category, 10 homes were sold. 4 of them were for cash. Days on market at that end of the spectrum was 21 days. We've been tracking this for several months now.
The 250 and lower is right back into our trend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and coincidentally again, which is often the case, the $1 million plus, we watched that end of the spectrum as well. And then also 10 homes sold. 7 of those 10 were for cash. And days on market was 91, which is above the 54 that the overall group sold at, but still on the low side for expensive homes.
Yes.
They typically sit on the market quite a bit longer. The number of listings, you hear people talk on social media and at cocktail parties, talking about how many homes there are. We have this glut on the market. There are only 1,172 homes listed on MLS, and we were up to over 1,300 not too long ago. So that's just hogwash. Homes pending, 330, and that's right in line where it should be. We have 5.7 months worth of inventory. That's really neither a buyer's market nor a seller's market.
Neutral.
And that holds along with the median selling price, which has been really steady for several months in a row now. So again, today's market it's not real exciting. We're not we're not meeting all the demand because there are a lot of let's put it this way: buyers and sellers are equalized. They're in balance.
Right.
But there are fewer buyers and fewer sellers in the market for different reasons. The sellers are staying out of the market because interest rates are higher, and many of them are locked into 2.5% mortgages, and they just can't afford to make the switch from a 2.5 to a 6.5 mortgage. And buyers the same are put off by the interest rate. Median price of homes pending. Now this is kind of a shock. We've had this is our predictor of the next couple of months' closing costs. The median price, listing price for the pending homes is $369,000. That's down about $18,000 from just a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little worrisome because that is a pretty good predictor of what the closing price will be over the next month or two. But homes sold, they were up 14.9% in September, 20.4% October, 41.7% in November. So that's kind of counter to what I just said about the pending file.
And that is over from last year, correct?
Yes, that's.
And these are traditionally slow months.
And these are traditionally the slowest months. Median price, September up 3.6%, October up 2.2%, November up 0.6%. And then I think the more important number really is total sales, because that's, when you talk about an industry like the auto industry, they don't talk so much about how many cars they sold. They talk about what their annual sales were.
Volume.
So it's the total sales volume. The sales volume in September was up 6.4%, October 9.4%, and November was up 46.1%. So that's a huge jump. So, but as a cautionary note, while the number of homes under contract exceeds last year at this time, the listing price of these homes is down roughly $18,000 from both last month and from the same month a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's get to our main topic. David wandered in when we were recording last week's show, and he had listened to the previous week's show, and we were talking about the vanishing American dream. And as we do almost every week, we never got all the way through our topic. We get through the first 2 pages of 6 pages of show notes. And David started asking lots of questions. So I challenged him. I said, why don't you come on next week and you could ask these questions online, and we can go a little deeper into the topic than we did a couple of weeks ago. So that's why David is here. And I'm glad. David, you can start asking questions anytime. We can switch back and forth between who's doing the interview and who's the interviewee and who's the interviewer.
Okay, so your show, The Vanishing American Dream, that's a disturbing title. So explain what is vanishing and what's the American dream? Why is it such doom and gloom?
Well, housing costs have been traditionally challenging because home prices have risen faster than wages over a pretty long historical period. And our market here, I moved here in 2000, and we were the canary in the coal mine during the bursting of the housing bubble in 2005, 6, 7, during that period. And our market locally, we went down 60%. And we didn't get back to that 2005, 2006 high until COVID just before COVID. We just reached that point, and then COVID really shot the market up. So, and we're still pretty much up in the post-COVID high, I guess.
Well, to say we have a vanishing American dream, we first have to define what is the American dream. And I think in layman's terms, it is to have a home and most likely have a family, 2.5 kids, apple pie baking. That's the traditional American dream. And I think that's what people think about when you say the American dream.
Yeah, and home ownership is the key component of that, because
right.
that's how you build wealth.
Yeah, and owning a vehicle, or making payments on a vehicle. So for that to be vanishing, that means that, to Toby's point, home ownership is out of reach. Maybe starting that family is out of reach, which we know that our birth rate is declining. And maybe purchasing vehicles is becoming out of reach. And I think that we're seeing trends even over the past week or so. We're starting to see at the federal level different tax incentives for purchasing new vehicles, 50-year mortgage being talked about, and they're talking different incentives for having children. Someone seeded a fund for bank accounts for young children, 10 and under. And then if they're born like this year, I think it's more money. Literally incentivizing Americans.
Yeah, the Fed is contemplating $1,000 goes into an investment account for every baby born. And I heard, Michael Dell was the person. Mm-hmm. He's from the computer business, and he and his wife put, I don't know, $6.5 billion into a privately funded account for young children. And he was being interviewed, and he pointed out that children who have a financial interest, like savings account or 401k or trust account, become aware of the financial system, mm-hmm. and become emotionally invested in it. They tend to more often go on to college and graduate from college. They tend to not go to jail. They tend to get married. They tend to own a home. All of the things that really encompass the American dream.
Well, that's true. I just want to point out that it costs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't remember the number, but I want to say it's like $500,000 to raise a child, mm-hmm. from birth to 18. So don't have a baby just for this bank account.
Okay, well, I've stopped.
I've also stopped.
Okay, on that note, let's take a quick break. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for staying with us. This is the second half of Real Estate Matters. We have David Ayers, who's the president and CEO of the Flagler Broadcasting, the owner of this station and 6 others, with us today. We're talking about the vanishing American dream. We want to shout out to our primary sponsor, Veranda Bay. Go to verandabay.com and learn about that beautiful community on the Intercoastal Waterway with a Flagler Beach address. We're talking about the vanishing American dream, and before the break we talked about what is the American dream and sort of many of the reasons why it's more elusive today than it has been in the past. And I've been saying for literally years that we're turning our middle class into a rental society. Mm-hmm. In 2025, the average net worth of homeowners is about $430,000. That's net worth of the average homeowner, while the average renter has a net worth of $10,000. And that's a pretty staggering difference, of 43 times difference. Now, it's not that simple. I mean, renters tend to be younger. They haven't accumulated as much wealth anyway. They don't have big 401ks and such. So it's more complicated. And I don't mean to oversimplify it, but clearly home ownership in the past has been kind of the anchor of funding your old age and passing wealth generationally to your children as well. And if you end up as a rental society, you lose that opportunity. So how do we create an American dream that has the same end result but through a different means? Got any ideas, David?
Well, I talk to a lot of young people, and they look at you and everybody else as all the old guys that have you made yours, you got yours, and they look at politics that way too. They look at it like even though, and I ask them, where do you lean, Republican, Democrat? I have grandkids and they have friends, and I talk to all of them, and it's great to know. So a lot of them will identify as a Republican because they like the message, they like the Christianity, they like, and probably my grandson made a quote that I'll never forget. He goes, well, I was kind of, looking. He goes, but I always look at the Democrats. I don't want to have hate in my heart, so that's why I identify as a Republican. But I see the Republicans are the haves, like they see Trump talking about bringing trillions and billions. They don't relate to what does that mean to me. I'm trying to pay for groceries. I'm trying to, make a car payment. And they look at it, the old guys, that would be you, Toby, are out of touch with the young people. Okay. So I think that's interesting.
Except for the having part.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also the voting. I mean, you look at, the Republicans, almost lost Nashville for a congressional seat because of the younger people voting, because they see their hope for the American dream is socialism. They see it. They can't earn it. They can't make it. They can't get it. It's out their reach.
So give it to me.
So what?
So give it to me because I can't make it.
Well, they're willing to work, but they don't see their working as enough to get what they want. So they look at it like they're willing to work. They're not freeloaders, but they look at it like I need help. And they look at socialism as something offering them that help that they can't get on their own. They can't get from any other source to it other than the government. So their thinking is, I need. So when they hear us talking about their vanishing American dream and they're never going to make it and they shouldn't have kids, they look at that as pretty depressing and pessimistic. And while they're very optimistic about their future, you're very pessimistic about a young person's future in this country. And they don't look at it. They got their life ahead of them, and they're looking at it on what can they do to get all these things, and they have confidence they do it. Another big thing, when you go, how are they going to earn this money? I can tell you one big thing right now is called gambling, Hard Rock, DraftKings.
Sports betting, yep.
Sports betting. Mm-hmm. They see that as, and it's an addiction.
And TikTok influencing.
So, on what?
TikTok influencing.
Okay.
Being an influencer.
I mean, that is a thing, but the sports betting is just a quick buck.
Mm-hmm.
If you get you make the right bet, you can be up $4,000 on a Saturday.
I lost on Dallas last night, by the way. But anyway, I'm not
sorry about that.
Not losing my house over it. But
right.
But at the same time, it's an addiction. But these are all things where they want to acquire wealth.
But you're also, if that's saying how desperate you are. But if you take the numbers, right, and you look at Toby's generation, your generation, and then my generation, I'm in my 30s, you compare it, it's not feasible for my generation to purchase a home and raise children on one income. The money doesn't work out the same way. Mm-hmm. And so that
when I grew up, that was not true.
Right.
Most of my mother was
that was Ozzie and Harriet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in an Ozzie and Harriet home.
Leave It to Beaver, all the great shows. That's how every American family.
Yeah, and it's not possible anymore. We have to work, because even if one parent stays home because the daycare costs what the one parent makes, then your earning potential is gone. So when you do re-enter the workforce, 5 years later, or maybe longer, whenever the youngest child goes to kindergarten,
or try to qualify for a mortgage.
Right, then you can't qualify for the mortgage if you didn't have one already. I mean, it is a whole thing.
And day trading. They're big on day trading. You're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are day trading.
Yep.
That's gambling, even though my stockbroker would disagree with that. But it is. And they're willing to risk and they go into debt because they're putting their bets on credit cards and things. So it's a lot bigger difference than just, well, they can't, it's their dream is vanishing based on traditional ways that we had the privilege of getting in at a small
Well,
rate.
I agree. I'm actually optimistic. I'm not pessimistic. I'm optimistic that the American dream will find another way, another route or alternate routes to get to the American dream.
Well, and you have talked on your show about many of those ways of doing it, like where the land is leased and the house is owned, and in little villages and less square footage. And why is 25% of your mortgage payment on a spare bedroom you'll never use, and people don't come and visit you anyway, or you don't want them to come and visit?
Or a garage.
Or a
The
garage.
garage is
Right.
why do you have to have a 2-car garage?
Yeah, I mean, tiny homes are popular for.
And then you get the NIMBYs who say, well, we don't need that much density. Actually, you do. Not because if you don't want to live there, don't live there. You do need the density to make housing affordable. It's not about stocking as many people in as you can. It's about how the land is developed
and building up.
It's not how dense you make it, it's how you make it dense.
Right.
Yeah. So
exactly.
And they like, the young people. They like living in apartments and they like living in condos. And
there's something to be said about the sense of community, because back to the point of how us as 30-somethings and then 20s, we're different. Our parents are still working. Our parents aren't there to help us raise our children. Our villages are non-existent, or they're still at work. So we do need our communities. So living in a place where you have a literal built-in community is not a bad thing. Having a third space to gather where you have your family and your friends all come together in the evenings and you can help each other out with watching children, that's a good thing. That's a positive.
Yeah. Well,
and it causes people to take care of their neighborhood better.
And the mindset was anyway on building different things. And this was actually hotels and redesigning lobbies of hotels for millennials and things. Is they want to be together, yet they want to be apart. Yeah. And so that's why you see hotel lobbies and these kind of things changing, restaurant designs and layouts and social settings, that are, but it's the same thing with living at home. They're more social than ever, yet they're more separated than ever because of the way they socialize.
It's called no
texting.
no new friends, David.
Yeah.
We have our friends and that's all.
they want to have experiences, not things.
Yes.
They don't collect things and accumulate things like my generation.
I've been
so
accused of throwing everything out and having no sentimental value. That's what my mom said.
So then why do we have so many storage spaces being built?
Because we can't put
Because
boats and
people
things in our driveway.
They can't let go of their golf clubs, even though they don't play golf anymore.
Because people are in apartments and they can't store things.
Well, I asked, they said we're in an era of abundance in America. We went through the era of industrialization. We went through the era of technology, and we're in an era of abundance right now where the amount of money that Americans spend on trash bags is far more than the total net worth of over half the countries in the world of what Americans spend on trash bags. So we're in the era of abundance right now. So it conflicts with so many different things. But, here my question to you, Toby, is how important is home ownership for young people, really? Aren't there other ways for them to acquire wealth?
That's the big question. I told you that I'm optimistic. I have confidence. 100 years ago, 23 or 24% of the population worked in agriculture, and today it's less than 1%. That's a huge, huge societal change in 100 years. And we've gone through changes like that before societally, and we'll do it again because we're adaptive.
We're in such a digital
country.
age too, where people can work from anywhere. So I think the main question when I talk to young people about what they want to do with their lives, and especially in getting into the trades, I don't ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? I say, what do you want your life to look like as a young adult, as an adult? and work backwards from there. So I think that would be a beginning question for homeownership. Are you going to stay in one place for 7 years or longer?
We just need to teach our kids better about life skills and feelings.
So if renting is going to be the big popular thing, why wouldn't a young person, we'll talk about duplexes and triplexes, have some leases lined up and then go to the bank and say, hey, I need a loan. I'm going to live in one. I'm going to rent out one or two next to me here. And here's a little bit of a down payment. Help me get going.
Yeah, or start a business.
Absolutely.
I mean, other than being a landlord, I mean, that's a good way to build wealth too. But just starting a business, a manufacturing business or a sales organization, whatever.
Rental management.
Rental management is an option.
It's a whole industry.
But you, instead of putting the money into home ownership and home maintenance, you put that money into some other vehicle, whether it's an investment or a career.
So what about everybody dying and leaving their wealth to their kids and grandkids? How is that going to help them?
Under this new paradigm, you won't need that because people will, their focus won't be on building wealth to generational wealth. I think the concept of generational wealth will become less important over time.
Okay. Well, we'll find out.
Yeah. Well, thanks for stopping by again, David. We'll have you back. It's always fun to have you.
Thank you, Toby.
This is a great
Anna Maria?
topic. We can,
Absolutely.
if we ever run out of other topics,
We'll
we can
circle
always
back
come
to
back to
this.
this one
Yeah.
because this one will never.
Update on the Vanishing American Dream.
Yeah, we'll never finish talking about this one. You want to wrap us
I
up?
will. Video podcasts of Real Estate Matters are now available on gotoby.com. Click on podcasts on the top navigation bar. And if you have a question or a suggestion for Real Estate Matters or gotoby.com,
You can call me at 386-931-7124 or email me, toby@gotoby.com. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to having you back next week. I'm Toby Tobin, and I approve this show.